morning, good afternoon, and good evening, EXP family. Welcome to Level Up. Good to see you all here. We have got an amazing Wealth Wednesday in front of us. So before we get started, though, I just want to genuinely welcome you to the program. If you've been here before, you know a little bit about what to expect. But if you're brand new here, what we're doing is we are bringing you training that's going to help you level up your life, level up your business. And it's going to be a very exciting day. So we're going to kick it off by firstly talking to one of my favorites, Sara Delansig, about when you should hire an ISA. Super interesting, something that we should all start thinking about when we get to a certain level in business. And then second, after that, we're going to say it with intensity. So you're going to join Brent Gove, John Mycash, with an just amazing, powerful session, going to give you a lot of value, a lot of tips and tricks. So grab something to write with, all right? And then we're going to close off the day talking to the amazing Leo Robles, and he's going to tell you how to become unstoppable, right? So, I mean, let's go. We're fired up for today. It's going to be an amazing session. Before we go on with it today, though, I do want to ask you to go ahead and make sure that you're subscribed to eXp Realty's YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell because you don't want to miss when we go live next time. So, okay, my friends, then without further ado, I want to toss it over to the amazing Sara Delansig about when you should hire an ISA. Let's take it away.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sara Delansig. I am super excited for you all to be here on this topic, which is when should you hire an ISA? And ISAs are kind of a hot button topic right now, you know, a buzzword in the real estate industry. Not a lot of people know about it. They've been around for a long time, but in the real estate industry, they're becoming more popular. And this is something that I've been doing for 4+ years now. So I am excited to talk to you guys about it and give you some insight and hopefully, you know, just help educate and let you know when you should hire an ISA. So let's get into this. And well, before we get into when you should hire an ISA, I want to preface this with when you should not hire an ISA. And the reason for that is because every day I talk to people that, you know, real estate agents like to throw money at things sometimes. And when they don't want to do it, especially. And I talk to people that actually can do this themselves, but they hate doing it. And I just don't think that's the best option. So that brings me to number one on when you should not hire an ISA. It's because you hate making the calls yourself. And I like to use a quote from the Conversion Queen that I found, which is, if you can't conquer your own fears of the phone or get your own appointments, how can you expect someone else to do it for you? And this is so true. And I hope you aren't mad at me for saying this, but the reality is as real estate agents, you know, writing contracts is hard. You know, there's other things that are hard that you do. And we as agents have a ton of things that we have to do. This is why I am in awe of people that actually sell real estate. Yes, I have my license, but I have no desire to do it. Making phone calls for me is not hard. And for a lot of real estate agents, it is. But I hope that I encourage you to find ways to get over the fear of rejection and all of the things that might keep you hold you back from making phone calls, because when you can conquer that, then you will be a better agent all around. And so I have this topic out there. I hope you find it. You can find me out, you know, in the EXP world and everything like that. And you can find ways to overcome this. But on the next thing I want to talk about, okay, so the next reason you should not hire an ISA is if you aren't able to commit to them long term. I want you to think of an ISA as like, you know, as like a lead, or think of a lead as a seed that needs time to grow. It needs planted, it needs watered and nurtured and given sunlight and value and follow-up. And right, those are things that they need. And an ISA needs to do those things until, you know, you're ready for the harvest. So you need to be able to commit to an ISA long-term, whether it's an ISA service or an ISA that you bring onto your team, because it's a critical role and they represent you. And so you want them to be consistently developing relationships with your leads, right? So that brings me to the number 3 reason that you do not want to, you should not hire an ISA that's uncomfortable, or no, that's comfortable in an administrative role and uncomfortable in an ISA role. But there's a difference in personality as far as admin roles and ISAs, I would say. And so disc profile says that an ISA is going to be a high I. My I is 99 out of 100, which is crazy, I know, but and then my D is like right around 82 out of 100. So and then it goes S, and I think it goes C and then S. But either way, that's kind of how it is, and it's flip-flop for admin roles. So the people on my team that took the disc profile that are admin, they're like almost exactly the opposite. So just think of ISAs over here, admin over here. It's completely different. However, some people can do it. And so that's not a knock on everyone. It's just, I think that the people that are comfortable in an administrative role might not be as comfortable in a role where it's, highly competitive and, a lot of communication on the phone and things like that. So the other thing when you should not hire an ISA is because you think you'll make more money, but you can barely afford leads right now. Yes, an ISA can bring in more business and should bring in more business. But if you're barely getting by right now and you cannot afford leads, and then you go hire an ISA, chances are that you're not gonna have the things dialed in that you need to have dialed in, and it's not gonna work out that well for you, and you're probably gonna spend more money before you make money, unfortunately. So I do have to talk people out of this often about hiring me, which is a whole nother story, which I will share with you sometime if you find me online. So let's get into the good stuff, right? When should you hire an ISA? Well, the number 1 reason you should hire an ISA is when you're too busy out there listing and showing homes to follow up with the leads yourself anymore, right? Like if you are in the car going from appointment to appointment, client to client, listing to showing, and you see those leads pop up on your phone and there's no way for you to make that call, well, that's what you need an ISA, right? Which brings me to the next reason, which is that you need to establish a better work-life balance. But I will caveat this one with the fact that if you do not have the systems in place to scale when you bring in an ISA, then you are probably going to get back to square one where you're overwhelmed, because a good ISA will bring in business and will make a lot more work for you, right? Because you're going to hopefully get the more sales and everything like that. So your systems need to coincide with that, and they need to be all moving in the right trajectory so that you don't end up back at square one where you're overwhelmed even with an ISA, because an ISA will bring in, like I said, more business, or they should. Okay, so the next reason that you should hire when you are ready to hire an ISA is when you want to grow your business while increasing profitability, right? This is where I will send you. Figure out how much you are worth hourly. And I don't know how to do this calculation off the top of my head, but I'm sure ChatGPT can tell you, or Google, if you're old school now. That's funny. But anyway, so go ahead and find out how much you are worth hourly. As real estate agents, we don't have like a, hourly wage that we know, but you should know. You should know based on how many hours of work you're doing per week and all of that, and how much you put on your tax return. You should know whether you're worth $50 an hour or more. And if you are worth more than $50 an hour, well, then it might be time to hire an ISA. I would recommend it because your ISA is not going to be worth $50 an hour to begin with. They're going to work up to that. And hopefully by that time, you're making $500 an hour. And then you can scale. Obviously, that's the way it should go, right? Okay, so the other reason that you should look for when you're ready to hire an ISA is that you have the money to feed them leads. I guess, that goes without saying, but it should be said, silly as that sounds. Now you're like, how many leads is enough leads? They need to be able to consistently follow up with them. Now, an ISA can make anywhere from 10 calls an hour to 60 calls an hour if they're depending on the dialer and how many people pick up and what kind of conversations they're having and all these other reasons, time of day. There's so many things. But if you take that into account, on the low end, they should have, if you want to hire somebody that's doing calls for you 4 hours a day, well, then they should probably have at least 40 leads a day to call. And they can consistently follow up with the old stuff and check in with people, but you want to have enough new stuff coming in that keeps them busy, because that's the best way to get you more business and to scale. All right. And then the final thing I have is, when all other areas of your follow-up system are dialed in. And this is the stuff that I want to get into for you, because as an ISA service, I own a boutique ISA company called the Inside Sales Agency, and we do not work with every real estate agent that wants to hire us. We tell them things that they need to have in place first, because of something I like to call lazy agent syndrome, LAS for short. So what I found is that when I first started, my ISA company, agents would hire me and they go, oh, she has her license, so she can pull comps and she can show properties and all this stuff, even if they were out of the area. Some of them weren't, but that's not my job. That's your job. Okay. My job is to find the gold in your CRM and in your database and tell you that you need to talk to that person, right? It's not my job to pull comps for you. So the other thing I found is that those people were not necessarily motivated to show up to listing appointments, shockingly enough. So I decided that I was going to have some, rules in place for before hiring us as your ISA service, what you would have to have. And what that is, well, number one, you need to have a CRM that has, that's organized. A CRM that says buyers and sellers, has the right tags, has the right campaigns. You need email campaigns in there. And hopefully you're using video in those as well. Also, now, if you're not hiring me, you want to have a dialer. I have my own dialer. That's a whole nother thing. But, if you're going to hire someone for your team, you need to have a dialer. They can call through their cell phone, yes, but it's not going to be, that's not the way you want them to do it. Especially, I say, unfortunately, is a high turnover rate position, unless you really groom them. And there's other ways to do that and train them and lead them into an agent role. But if they are making calls through their cell phone, then it's not going to be recorded in your CRM, and then you're not going to know what happened. And then if they quit or don't show up to work, then you're not going to have that data. So that is crucial. You definitely want to have a dialer that works with your CRM and shows you exactly what's happening. So the next thing that you should have before you hire an ISA is a YouTube channel. This is just my opinion. I want to throw that out there. A lot of people are going to be like, no, Sarah, I've been doing real estate for 20 something years and I do not need a YouTube channel. Okay. I hear you. That is factual for certain types of leads. I would say realtor.com leads. YouTube channel, not so necessary, but the majority of real estate agents today are following up with online leads, AKA they're running Facebook ads, right? They're doing, they have an IDX website. Somebody's clicking on properties on their website, right? And they're having to enter their information. And then, you need to slowly nurture them over time until they convert. So a YouTube channel is really beneficial when you have community-based content regarding the pros and cons of living in Scottsdale, Arizona, or, what it is Las Vegas a good place for your family to live, right? So whatever area you are in and your leads are clicking on maybe a listing that you have, right? And so they're buyers and you're like, okay, well, I want to call these people, but 9 times out of 10, they don't pick up the phone. So my backup plan is to send value to everyone. You get value, you get value, you get value. Okay. Every single time I try to contact someone, I leave a custom voicemail, and I never leave the same voicemail twice. And then I send a custom text. And this text has a link to a YouTube video in it. Now, the problem is that there are not, CRMs are still catching up to this, because video texting is something that they're not quite there yet. And I won't mention any CRMs, but if you follow up what I'm saying, then you'll understand that some people aren't there yet. Some CRMs aren't there yet. And there are some that are. So for me, I have one of these. I won't mention what it is, but it actually sends a little preview of a YouTube video, so people are comfortable clicking on it. I have not found another CRM out of the common CRMs that agents use that can do this, but it is really effective because you don't want people saying stop when you are texting them right away. And so there's a certain method to that madness, which I hope I will share with you at an event or at a later date. So keep an eye out for that, or I might have already shared it in some of my older stuff. So check that out as well. But it is super important that you are adding value with every contact attempt, because we don't want to ignore the 90% that we're not contacting today, right? It takes, if you look at a contact probability arc for how long it takes to convert a lead, well, it's not here on the first call, not with most online leads anyway. You're looking at call attempt number 12 or something like that. But calls 1 through 11 are just as important, okay? And it's not just the calls, it's the text messages. So all of my clients, I ask them to have YouTube channels with community-based content, and it is crucial to the follow-up process and the sequence that we do. It might not be crucial to yours. This is just me sharing what I do, okay? All right, so the next thing that we have, you want to have in place for your ISA when you hire them is a Calendly or some type of calendar that they can schedule online. I will always live transfer, number one. That is my number one way to go. And I let all of my clients know, save this number in your phone, is hot, 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 you know, answer. But a lot of times you might be out of closing or at a family event or whatever the case may be, and you can't answer the phone, right? So you have to have a backup plan, because I don't want to go back to that call and say, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, Sarah wasn't available, but, you know, I'll have her call you later. That's not the way to do it. You don't want to do that. However, Sarah wasn't available. Let me get you on her calendar. She has some availability later this evening or tomorrow, whatever the case may be, right? So Calendly is free. I'm not paid by them to endorse it or anything like that. But there's ways to use it with the free version that'll at least sync up with all your stuff. I have like, I don't know about you guys, but I have like 10 different email addresses as a real estate agent. I'm guessing you do too. And it syncs with all of them so that I never miss a beat and everything is all exactly where it's supposed to be. So, okay, two more things. So 2 more things that you want to have before you hire an ISA. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th thing is digital marketing materials, which I already kind of touched on as part of email campaigns and everything like that. You definitely want to have digital marketing materials. These are things that you can send links of, buyer's guides, seller's guides, market updates, anything that can add value along with video. You want that stuff, and you want it to be, like I said, digital. So you can send it in a text message or in an email or something like that. And the final thing is the most important thing, which is leads. Number 6, leads. Definitely want to have leads. And we already talked about that. So I am sure you guys might have questions, and I have an amazing workplace group, which is called Inside Sales Agents General. I would love for you all to come find me on there, or find me on Instagram at Sarah_the_ISA. And this is what I do. I'm very passionate about it. I don't like selling real estate, so I hope you will come find me and check me out. Thanks so much.
Thank you for watching Level Up, brought to you by eXp University. Coming up next, Say It With Intensity with your hosts, Brent Gove and John Mycash. It's time to level up.
Hello there, everybody. Great to be here. And man, I didn't know we were following some powerhouse rock stars. So what an honor and a privilege. They got the fire stoked. John, good to have you here, man.
Awesome to be here. Yeah, it's what a cool place to follow up, and just so awesome that our company is attracting people like that on the regular.
I love the fact that you put Montana by your name. Why don't I think of those kind of things, man? So you're just, if you don't know John Mycash, he is probably the coolest dude at all of EXP. His vibe, he's just an awesome man of God who loves people, goes large. And I thought let's see, there's about 90,000 people I could choose from. And I actually chose John McKesh. I called him up this morning. I said, what are you doing at 12:30 Eastern? He's like, helping you. Let's go. So, man, today our topic is say it with intensity. And the key to success is energy. And we're going to talk to you about mindset, because I think those three little areas unlock a lot in your life. I know Tarek just said, it's numbers, hit your numbers, do the numbers, and I couldn't agree more, but I actually want to give a little tweak on that and go to the next step. But John, just before we get started, I've been in EXP, I think 6 years now, and I was able to be a sponsor 40 people. And like my first, 6 months, I was the first person to do that. And then John came along and shattered all of my records. He beat everything I ever did. He's growing faster than I ever grew. He's just an amazing person who loves people, and he wears his heart on his sleeve. John, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you before we start this, just a minute or two, kind of like I did a little bit. And
yeah, for sure. I mean, I have you to thank for shattering those records and all the people that came before me, because you guys literally blazed a trail through the jungle and I got to jump onto a super highway. So when people ask, is the time now? It's like, yeah, it's right now. But I'm just grateful to be here. I've been here 2.5 years. I've done it the hard way. I've done it every other way in residential real estate, with franchises, independence, without. And I finally saw the light and was able to come over. And it's just been a life-changing experience for me. It's helped my family and I relocate to Montana and live the life of our dreams.
That is awesome. And if I had done it right, it'd be / Puerto Rico. I'm out here in beautiful, sunny Puerto Rico today. Let's see if we can give you a picture of the ocean. There it is, and the palm trees. It's just a beautiful day out here. How's the weather in Montana today, Johnny?
It's a perfect skiable 20 degrees out right now.
It's 80 out here, man. It's always 80. At 3 a.m, it's 80. It's pretty cool. Actually, sometimes we go through we do get like storms out of the north, and it gets down. We go down to like 72, and that's a real cold day in hell, so to speak. I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's get into it. Our topic and the overall topic: say it with intensity. So, John, let's bring up those slide decks and let's share with people what we have prepared for you. And we're going to kind of go back and forth on these slides. But I want to say this before we start. I think a lot of people go through the motions. They go through the numbers, like Tariq said. They Elena said. Elena was amazing in mindset and attitude and getting out there and just doing it. And don't worry about being perfect. You'll improve. But in my opinion, and John, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think people go through the motions. That's just it, though. They're going through the motions. They're doing an open house. They're showing property. They're going on a listing appointment. And they lack the energy. And there's a friend I heard 30 years ago called Cole Menor. What a great name. He said, say it with intensity. What he said, and I'll never forget this, he said, they don't listen to the words. They listen to the music. You ever talk to a salesperson, especially telemarketer, wah, 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 and they're just going through the script, they're doing the numbers, but there's no passion, there's no intensity, there's no energy behind their words, and it kind of falls off people. Like if I threw a stick pin at John, it'd bounce off. But if I added a telephone pole to the stick pin and threw it at John, boom, it's going in, it's going to impact. So you got to dial up your internal energy level. If you're going after commercial, residential, luxury, first-time home buyers, building a team, dating, finding a husband, finding a wife, whatever you do, parenting, put energy into relationships. Relationships that die have no energy. So with that said, I'm going to turn this over to John. We're going to start with these slides, but it is about intensity. And another word for that is energy. Go ahead, Johnny.
No, I think it's so good, Brent. And it's, when I think back on my real estate career, everything that I did that I had success at, I had intensity behind. So, I built my company, I started out and it was working expired leads. Like, who really gets excited about expired leads? It wasn't the expired leads that gave me the excitement and the intensity. It was the knowledge and the process that, hey, if I did these things, I could change my family's life. So when I picked up that phone and called that person, it was with that intensity of, hey, this is one step to changing my life. And I really believe that we're at a unique place with EXP right now, where everything that's been done before us has laid the framework for us to have massive success and us to go out and impact lives. So I say the time is now, the place is here. Stay in the present. You can't do anything to change your past. And we all have a past. We all have challenges. We all have a road littered with defeat and failure. But we're here right now. We're listening to this right now. And we can't focus so much on the future because it's never going to look exactly like you think it is. But I promise if you'll just go into now, knowing that you're in the right place, like if you really peel back the onion and just take a minute to understand like where you are right now. For everybody listening to this, you're living a life right now, regardless of where you are and regardless of comparison syndrome at EXP and any other real estate agent, you're living the life of kings and queens from generations before us. Right now, you have more luxury than kings and queens had in the Bible, in these people of the past. And you have an opportunity with EXP that I believe is like no other.
I love it.
Guys,
Dead on.
85,000 agents. Brent, how many agents were there when you started?
1,200. I know.
85,000.
We're booming. We're booming.
So I want 85,000 agents. We're not late because we're going to add 85,000 agents in the next couple of years, and it took us 13 years to get here. So, here's a real applicable situation. When we say it with intensity, when you get the objection that you're going to get, and the good news about EXP is there's only about a handful of objections. And one of those objections is going to be, I'm too late. I should have done it then. And it's just like the investing quote. Yeah, the best time to invest was yesterday, but the second best time is right now. And if you understood that it took us 13 years to get to where we are right now, and in the next 2 short years, we're going to double that, how is that not a better time than then? Like right now, you have it. So if you don't respond to that objection with intensity, you're not going to break through those paradigms and those limiting beliefs and that fear and insecurity that your prospects have. You have to understand that like it's never been a better time, and it likely never will be. Brent, I know you can speak to this. 240 million in revenue share paid out last year. Like, guys, are you kidding me? Like, this is Glenn Sanford said it last night on a video message to all of us alphas. He said, guys, we're living through an era. The franchise real estate model as we know it will no longer be relevant in the next 10 to 20 years. It's happening now. The shift is happening now. Us paying out $240 million in revenue share is sending shockwaves through the real estate industry. There will never be another real estate company that's relevant that won't have a model like ours. So what does that mean? That means there's going to be more competition. Stop focusing on the competition and focus on the activity. What is it that you're doing? Brent, what do you want to say about that?
I mean, I spent 21 years at an independent, 13 years altogether, 13 years at RE/MAX, 9 years at Keller Williams. I was at an independent. None of them paid out $1 a revenue share. And we're pumping out $250 million a year to our agents. And it's life-changing, but you have to work for it. I mean, it's great that you might want to be a listing agent or a luxury agent, but you got to suck it up and get on airplanes and go to events and meet luxury superstars. Go meet top producing agents who sell 60, 70, 80 homes a year and sit at their feet and ask questions and go, how did you do it? And then you could have a piece of this. And it's like anything. Is everybody going to do it? No, but the average student gets a C, but some people get A's. I want to go back to one thing you kind of inspired me. You were talking about do it now, do it today. The time is now. We always said, you may want an orchard, but it starts with planting the first tree. And the best time was 30 years ago, but the next best time is today. And there's a great saying. It's a silly quote, but I love it. You ready? It goes, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. And so Dennis Waitley, one of my favorite mentors of all time, he coached astronauts, sitting U.S. presidents, Olympic athletes, gold medalists. I mean, he was the guy they called. Anybody call you to coach the astronauts at NASA? They didn't call me. And he has a little saying. He loves rhymes. He said, every day's, he says, time's the speedster. It takes its toll. every day is the Super Bowl. And if you think about the Super Bowl, it is the apex of a professional football player's life. All football players, the odds of getting there are astronomical. And this is your day. You wake up, you're ready to go. You're going to perform at your very best. You play the game before you play the game. If you're a wide receiver, you see yourself doing those one-handed catches in the end zone. If you're a linebacker, you're sticking the guy come across the middle. You're a nose guard. You're a quarterback. You pivot. You fire. And do we do that every day? And Tariq, when he just finished, John, and I'll give this back to you, he said, talk to 15 people a day. It's easy. Talk to 15 people a day, whether it's about commercial real estate, regular real estate, agent attraction. It's numbers. I always say talk to 10 a day, 10 a day to 10 a day. And people always say, I'm trying. It's not working. I go, how many people did you talk to in the last month? Man, 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 people. Let's see, at 10 a day, that in 3 days you talk to 30 people, not in a month. And with Tariq, he said 15 a day, and he's the guy on TV. Maybe follow his advice. In 2 days, you talk to 30 people. The reason you are not succeeding is because you're not swinging the bat. And if you will swing the bat with energy and love in your heart, baby, this $250 million, almost $250 million, you can have a piece of that. And it's going to go to $500 million and $1 billion. Anyways, back to you, John.
Yeah, I mean, I bet if we looked at Tariq and we really dove into his specific story, we'd find that there was a pivotal moment where he believed. And I think it's that belief that translates into action. And you have this idea that like, okay, I need to take massive action, but if I don't believe that action is going to result in something good for me, I'm probably not going to do it. So that's why those events that you speak about are so important. If we don't get to the event, we don't get to borrow somebody else's belief until we have our own. And that's what I did right out of the gate is I just got around people like you and Gene Frederick and AJ Midas, my sponsor. And I got to the events because I knew that I needed to borrow somebody else's belief in order for me to make it my own and have that intensity that was going to break through the shells of people. So if you believe you can, you're halfway there. That's a quote that I believe in. Like I started out this year and we're always changing the quotes that we have above our coffee pot in our kitchen. And I literally have that quote right now on my board. I started out this year. If you believe, you're halfway there. I got a 13-year-old that's going through adolescence. It's so important to develop the mindset. If there's going to be something that you're going to do or accomplish in life that's going to be significant or great, I promise you there's going to be a belief or a mindset tied to that. So your belief determines your action determines your results, but you first have to believe. So like if you're sitting there and you're watching this right now, where is your belief that EXP is the best thing that's ever happened in real estate, bar none? Is it a 1? Is it a 10? Is it a 7? Did you hear about some competitor and all of a sudden it went from a 7 to a 5? Like how easily is your belief swayed up or down? Like that's something important for you to identify with, because until you have a rock solid belief and no failure, no obstacle is going to remove that 10 and make it a 9 or an 8 or a 7, that is when you're going to have unbelievable success by doing the same things that you're doing right now and maybe not seeing the success that you want to have. And when I talk to people and I coach people in my organization, it comes down to, okay, what happened and what was the result? And I let them get that out of the way because that's what they want to come with. But then I go right back to, well, what was your belief about what they said? Because you're either selling or being sold. And if you get on the call with a prospect and they crush you, why is that? I believe it's because you don't have enough belief. And the cool thing is, the good news is that there's people like Brent that are willing to do anything for anybody in this company to help you get that belief where it needs to be. And he just gives tirelessly of his time. I mean, this is one of the biggest guys and most busy guys in the entire company. And yet he still finds time to text me and reach out to me and be there for me. And that's why I quickly, rearrange my day to be on a call like this. It's an honor, Brent.
Thank you very much, John. You're the best. Chiming off what you said, Henry Ford says it this way: if you think you can, you probably can, believe. And if you think you can't, you're probably right. Right? And I think I will say this: your belief level has you driving the car you drive today. If you love your car, it has to do with your belief and your belief in yourself, and then backing that up with activity and your results, right? And if and the home you live in, or the apartment or the condo or the beautiful home you live in, it's what you expect to do. It's exactly what you expect to believe you could do. And I mean, I started my sales journey 38 years ago. You know, people say you were an overnight success at EXP. I was a 35-year overnight success at EXP. I started off talking to people. I would shake so bad. Multiple people would reach over, put their hand on my shoulder and go, hey, it's okay. A car salesman at Whitmire Ford in Chico, California, Dave Lindsay. I remember his name. He reached over, he grabbed me by the forearm. He says, hey, he could see I was terrified. I was shaking, but he respected me for kind of digging through that and go, I will win this. I cannot believe I'm freaking out and I'm fearful and I don't like it. As a 19-year-old kid, I powered through it. And guess what? I'm not afraid anymore. I will talk to anybody, any place, anywhere, because I'm going to love them. I'm going to help them. I'm going to serve them. I have a model that's going to change their life. But I'm sorry, you're going to feel stress and you're going to feel some anxiety and it's going to be inconvenient. You're going to have to get a ticket to the struggle bus and you get on that bus and you ride that thing. And if you're struggling right now, congratulations. If you're frustrated right now, excellent. Frustration is a precursor to breakthrough. And so if you're frustrated, good, but do something about it. Get on a plane and go to a commercial real estate event and sit in the front row. Don't show up late, sit in the back row. You sit in the front row. And then when the guy's leaving, you be the last one and go, hey, can I grab lunch with you? Could I buy you a cup of coffee later today or maybe breakfast tomorrow morning? You'll be shocked. I have never said no to anyone who asked me that, ever, unless I'm going straight to the airport. One guy goes, can I give you a ride to the airport? I was going to Uber. I go, sure. And then here we are, a 30-minute ride to Dallas, to the airport in Dallas. That's just smart. And then you get around people. And I got around these people. Proximity is power. So you can get around Ed Milet and Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone or TD Jakes or Les Brown. I was with Les Brown in Tahoe. I was with Les Brown in Atlanta. There are people I want to surround myself with. Francis Chan, amazing. Francis Chan wrote the book Crazy Love. Have you heard of that yet, John McKesh?
Yeah, I got Crazy Love. It's on my bookshelf.
What a great book, man.
I'll
give it back to you on energy, but you can see I'm putting energy right now. I'm reading this book right now for Kathy and I are together. Real Marriage, The Truth About Sex, Friendship, and Life Together by Mark and Grace Driscoll out of Seattle, Washington. Awesome book. We're tearing it up because we're even 31 years in. We're taking our marriage. We're going from a V4 to a V6 to a V. I'm slobbering. I'm getting so excited. To a V12. This is a great book on marriage. We go to someone gave me this for my birthday. Average Sucks. I can't wait to read it. I'm getting one right now written by a chiropractor. Get rid of your BS. And it is so good, which is belief system, because your belief system, we talked about that anyways, but yes. And I just demonstrated energy. Back to you, John.
Well, we're about to talk about energy. And I think that, it's appropriate to talk about marriage because there's nothing that's going to zap our energy more than a marriage that isn't working. I read a great book called Love and Respect, and it talks about this triangle in marriage and how, what women want is they want love. And what men crave is, generally speaking, is respect. And how often in marriage, if we don't get the love, we don't give the respect, and it creates this cycle. And I think it's the same in life, right? When you think of the greats, like you mentioned, like Les Brown and Tony Robbins and Ed Milet, and you think about the energy that they bring to their craft and their audience, they're bringing that out of love and authenticity, and they're bringing it in a way that's going to impact people. What energy are you bringing to your conversations? We say that enthusiasm, like in urgency, it matters in this. And I love this quote: enthusiasm is the electricity of life. How do you get it? You act enthusiastically until you make it a habit. Brent, I've heard you say this time and time again. Act as if. Show up with urgency. Show up with enthusiasm. And if I think of all of the greats at EXP and all of the leaders, I think that you embody this better than and more than anybody else. And it's something that I've tried to take from you as I've been on my own journey of agent attraction, is like, what energy and enthusiasm am I really bringing to this? Do you realize that the energy and enthusiasm that you bring to a conversation has the impact to change the conversation? Like, there's a real transfer of energy right there. And at a recent event that we were at, I heard it spoken from the stage. I think it was Gary Brecka. He said that authenticity is the most powerful emotion that a human being can emote. So, like, are you authentically sold out on your opportunity? Are you authentically trying to help somebody, or are you just trying to make a buck? because I think that the skills that we try to develop, I think that they're good, but I think that they pale in comparison to the amount of passion that you bring to the opportunity. And you give me somebody that's highly skilled but not passionate, and you give me somebody that's highly passionate with less skills, I'm voting on the passionate person every time, bar none. They're going to take your lunch and eat it. And when I first started in real estate, I was all passion, all hustle. And I, quite frankly, didn't have a lot of skills. Like my listing presentation was garbage. The way I worked with buyers was awkward. But I had this quote on my wall at the time. And it said, things may come to those who wait, but only the things left by those who hustle. And I had this theory, like, I can bring hustle. I may not have the skills. I may not be as good as that agent in my office or my marketplace, but I know I can outwork them. There was a quote that I loved by Will Smith, and he said, if we're on a treadmill and it's you and me, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to die on the treadmill. And you think about the career that Will Smith has had and like the person that he is, like, just stand up. Like, what does your hustle game look like right now? What are you willing to do? Are you trying to just get your way to that success destination in a comfortable way? Guys, it's not going to look comfortable. It's going to look chaotic, but there's so much beauty in the chaos, and there's so much growth that comes out of a journey of struggling and overcoming and working at something that's meaningful to you. So when we say it's about the intensity, it's not just what you say. There's no talk track that's going to get you to an alpha at EXP. It's all about the way you say it. It's how do you handle that rejection? Do you realize that some people are objecting to what you're saying just to see how you're going to handle it? So when somebody says to me, yeah, I've heard about EXP 100 times. Everybody's talked to me. Oh, really? Have you talked to the president and CEO, Glenn Sanford, yet? No? Okay, well, I can arrange that. Would you like to get on a call with him next Monday or Tuesday? That literally just happened in my business this week. Everybody's talked to me. Really? Have you talked to the CEO yet? Like, what are you willing to do to get somebody in front of the information in a unique and creative way? Here's something that I'll tell you guys. Every major leader in my organization today told me they had already heard about EXP, they weren't interested, and they wanted me to go away. Every single person. Some of the top people in my organization laughed at me when I called them. One of them said that they were throwing up in their mouth as I was telling them that I made to move to EXP. But 72 hours later, that person was in my business. Why? Because it wasn't what I said at that point. It was that my belief was stronger than their unbelief. And I said, look, you have to understand that, like, this is happening with or without you. Are you really going to stand on the sidelines while the largest transfer of wealth happens in the industry that we're a student in? So I think authenticity is real. It's something that can be measured. It's something where you have to get vulnerable. You have to be willing to lay it. Brent, you said this a long time ago, and it stuck with me. It said the only thing that you have to risk at EXP is your ego. Are you willing to do that? You know, I talk to guys all the time that are real estate investors, and they're investing beyond any imaginable risk. They're literally putting themselves and their family on the line with every transaction. They're willing to risk it all for a little bit of cash flow on a property. We don't have to risk that. We don't have to risk our family's financial future. We just have to risk our ego. But you know what's interesting about this opportunity and what I'm learning is that sometimes that's the biggest risk of all. Are you willing to put your ego aside to change your family and somebody else's family tree? I still get on the regular people that joined my organization 2+ years ago that send me text messages and say, John, I just had a heart of gratitude swell up in me, and I just wanted to say thank you. You've changed my life. Guys, that didn't happen with team members on my real estate team. It doesn't happen. It's the greatest opportunity, and we have to get in alignment with our head, our mouth, our heart, and most importantly, our feet. Because a lot of times I think that we get the authenticity almost right. We have the belief. We're ready to go. We've analyzed everything. We've been to the big events. Our head's right. Our heart's right. We're even ready to say the right things. But guess what, guys? We don't actually take action. So thinking, saying, feeling, and doing the same thing consistently, that's what builds trust with your followers. That's what's going to get people to want to follow you. And guess what, guys? More so right now than ever, people are looking for somebody to follow. And the greatest leaders, they look inward. They want to tell a good story with authenticity and passion. And Brent, you're a great storyteller. If you've ever heard Gene Frederick tell a story, he's one of the most amazing storytellers. These are leaders that are leading with authenticity and passion. I'll say this, there are people that are coming and copying our model. That's really a pat on our back. That's saying, hey, Glenn Sanford, good job. Well done. You've built something that people want to emulate. But here's what I'll tell you. When you look at any other company and you look at those that are trying to emulate us, there is no other company on the planet that has the amount of leadership and people leading the charge like we have. And if that's not enough to give you the comfort to have the mindset to take the action, I don't know what is. But when people start talking about competition, I'm like, there is no competition. Nobody's going to catch us. We have the leadership. Our model is sticky. Nobody is getting our top people. And for every one that gets pulled away and gets pulled to the other side of the fence, there's 100 more warriors ready to go to battle right here with you. So I just think that, like, you got to understand that, like you said it earlier, Brent, you're not going to win every battle, but you have to understand that there's no success path that isn't laden with failure. So be willing to fail your way to success and be willing to get in there and do the work. So I would recap this, and then I want to turn it back to you, Brent. Sure. Now is your time. It's never going to be a better time than right now. Be excited about this opportunity or borrow somebody else's excitement. Believe in your ability to figure it out. One of my great mentors, Brendan Bouchard, always said, John, believe in your ability to figure it out. Communicate your opportunity with passion. Embrace the failure. It's part of the journey. And focus on impact, guys. Stop focusing on yourselves. Focus on others. As Zig Ziglar said, help enough people get what they want, and you will get what you want. And then hustle. Be willing to dig in and hustle your way to greatness and be a leader amidst the chaos. There's more chaos now than ever, guys. And true wealth is not measured in money or status or power. It's measured in the legacy that we're going to leave behind for those that we care enough to love into this opportunity and inspire.
Beautifully. Well said, John. See, that's why I had him on. He's brilliant. I love this guy. So as we wrap it up today, I just want to say this. Some of you are going like, I can't find my passion. I can't find my motivation. And passion, you'll find it from your pain. Your pain will become your passion. If you'll overcome your pain, your financial distress, your marital distress, your whatever it is, overcoming health challenges. And if you can overcome them, you will find your passion. Your passion's on the other end of that rainbow. And so you got to dig deep, like John was saying, and find that. And I love the word enthusiasm. He threw that around a lot. Zig Ziglar, I'm a huge Zig Ziglar guy. Zig says the key to success is the last 4 letters of the word enthusiasm, which stands for I am sold myself. And when somebody's truly sold and they're authentically communicating that, like John said, game over. And so I just want to wrap up with this. We're done. We're at the top of the hour. Massive action creates results. It is not magic. It is motion. I realize you may not be able to talk like John. You may not have the belief that John and I have. You may not be like, I can't do that. Neither could we. We failed. We said stupid stuff. My new book's going to say stupid stuff often and with velocity. Because guess what? You just get it over with in a month. And also the second month, you're pretty smooth. The third month, you are slaying dragons. You're like a wild woman, a cave woman, a caveman. It's like game over. You're so doggone excited. And if you will, the next 10 days, you talk to 10 people a day. That's 100 people. Do 10 more days, that's 200. 10 more days, 30, 300 people. I don't care what it is you're trying to do. If you do that with authenticity, passion, and love, it's game over. Our time's up. I hope we added to your life today. John McKesh, thank you for joining me from Montana. What part of Montana, Johnny?
Bozeman, Montana.
Bozeman, baby. I'm going to come to Bozeman this summer just to find you and have a cup of coffee. And I'm going to be there. I'm fly fishing the Madison and Yellowstone Park in May with my daughter. So I'm going to look you up. I'm going to be there.
By my house. I'm right on the Yellowstone.
I'm coming over. That's all I heard to say. Bye, everyone. We love you. Thanks for having us on.
Are watching Level Up. Next up, become unstoppable. Join the amazing Leo Robles as he shares the top 5 principles to help you become unstoppable and achieve all of your goals. Let's toss it over to Leo.
Hey, everybody. I'm super excited to be here. This is Leo Robles, and I'm very excited to be speaking at the Level Up. I understand that I start off everything with intention, by the way. So that's actually step number one. My conversation today is about becoming unstoppable. That's the main intention of my conversation today. And, I've been in the business a little bit over 17 years now. So I started at 18 years old, and I actually dropped out of high school, went straight into real estate because I knew I wanted to do this business. And I really got attracted to it because I met somebody that was very successful looking, right? He had a suit, car, and a house. He had the three things that I really wanted. And that's what got me to get into real estate. And I asked him how much schooling you needed. And he said 3 months. And I said, this is the profession for me. This is the career that I want to get into. So it's been a 17-year career. It's been life-changing. I've had ups and downs, roller coaster. I started when the market was really simple, right? 2005, 6, when you basically had a heartbeat and you qualified for anything. That's when I started. And from there, I got a taste of the market and I made money. And then after that, the market collapsed. And when the market collapsed, I went through a huge time period where I struggled for a big amount of time. It was about a year and a half almost. I had a massive pity party. So I was just kind of upset at life. I had learned about personal development. I had read, gone to seminars, read books, all of these things. And when I lost everything, I really felt like none of it worked. And I kind of like rejected everything, even to the point where I didn't want to wake up out of bed. I didn't even want to go to work, like nothing. I had lost all the motivation. I tell people, it's when you achieve success, or you achieve any sort of financial, fluidity in your life, you're going to get to the point where if you don't have money, it's okay, which I didn't. I didn't come from a, very wealthy background. So when I started up, I made money. When I got a taste of money and I understood the freedom that came with it, wow, I was hooked. But having that taken away, that was devastating. So I tell everybody that I created this unstoppable mindset, not because, I'm so brilliant. I created this unstoppable mindset because I had no other choice. Like I really just got to the point where I had no other choice. And after about a year and a half, I finally got the courage to basically believe in me again. And it wasn't even me that believed in me. I actually got a mentor in my life that really just, I shared with them my story, my struggles. I said, hey, man, I got evicted a couple of times. I had a car repossessed. I lost all my money. And he told me, hey, you know what? The market goes up and it goes down. Like, this is normal. And I was thinking, I'm like, are you kidding me? I've gone through the most painful experience in my life. Like, this is normal. But he really reassured me. He really got me connected to reality again. And he told me the market goes up and it goes down. This is a natural thing. But he said, if you will do the things that I'm going to tell you to do, you will be successful. So I didn't believe in me. So I believed in him and his belief system. So I said, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and believe you because you believe in me more than I do. So once I actually started up, I followed his instructions, and that led me to huge success. I mean, within a couple of months, I became Rookie of the Year. The next year, I closed, close to 25 properties and sales. And then from there went to 40, then 60, then 80, then 100, then 120, then 150. My business exploded. Why I always like to start off with my story is because, I don't want you to think that I'm somehow a special person that had this magical wand or, had this REO account or something like that, right? We always like to look at people that are either on a screen or on a stage, and we kind of somehow think that they have a magical power. But in reality, I wanted to share my story because I don't have any magical powers. Like I said, I developed this mindset because I got to the point where I had no other choice. In order for me to survive, in order for me to move forward, I had to create this mindset for myself. And from there, I developed a couple of key principles that I'm going to go through here in this short conversation, just so you can level up your life, level up your business, no matter if you're just getting started, if you're kind of intermediate or you're advanced. I think that what I'm going to talk about, the principles that I'm going to talk about, are going to really cater to you no matter what level you're at, because I think they're universal principles. And my first principle is intention. I really want to talk about intention because even before I got into this interview and I was asked to speak here, I created an intention of what I wanted to talk about, what I wanted to leave you with, right? The other you on the other side that was watching this right now, I wanted you to leave you something with it. So that was my first thing. And basically for intention, I always tell everybody, take some time before you pick up a phone, before you go to an open house, before you go on your door knocking, before you go on your prospecting, before you do anything, set an intention of what kind of results you want to create, right? Like literally what I do is I close my eyes and I go within and I say, okay, my intention is to change lives. My intention is to bring value. My intention is to sign a listing with a positive, uplifting seller that's going to agree to my terms and it's going to value my services, right? Like you can get specific like that with an intention. And I really see that every single time that I set an intention, like it's night and day when I get the results, right? So even before I came on this camera, I set an intention as well, but the type of impact, the type of conversation that I was going to have. And intention is also really connected to your why, right? Because what you really want to get connected with as you're building your business, you really want to have a strong why, like why it is that you're getting out of bed in the morning. Why is it that you're working these long hours? Why are you taking time away from your family? So it's very important that you understand your intention and your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Because what I found, right? I mean, I've been doing this for 17 years, but I've talked to people that have been in the business 20, 30, 40 years. And what I hear as a common theme is a lot of the times their why wasn't even clear. They were building something because of their ego. They wanted to create a certain amount of income or money or status, but you really got to get connected in my perspective, right? And you could take it or leave it. A why that is connected to your heart and a why that is connected to something greater than you. And it's most of the time it's connected to some sort of service. It's connected to service, right? So I would say connect to your intention and your why. That's the first principle that I want to go over. The second principle is to create affirmations for yourself that are specific to what it is that you're creating, right? So I developed some affirmations that I've been saying for years. And I say these affirmations and I, share them a lot of the conferences where I speak at. And I say things like this: every day and every way I'm getting better and better. Every day and every way I'm getting stronger and stronger. Every day and every way I'm getting smarter and smarter. All I need is within me now. I have perfect health. I make other people's lives better with my presence, voice, and words. I attract amazing people to my life every day. Even you that you're watching this right now, right? I was born to win. I will never surrender. I will always keep growing. I was born to be great. Today will be the best day of my life no matter what. I sign a new listing today. I open a new escrow today. I am a great leader, speaker, motivator, and negotiator. So these are the type of affirmations that I've done for many years. That's why I have these things memorized, right? So again, right, I went to seminars. I picked up a couple from Tony Robbins, a couple from other speakers and other books, Joseph Murphy, I think, was one of the guys that I picked up a lot of my affirmations as well. But you really want to create something that's specifically tailored to what it is that you want to create. Because the great Muhammad Ali, he believed in affirmations. He said he was the greatest before he was the greatest. So I would create affirmations that are specific to what it is that you want to create and say them out loud, right? I mean, I've been caught driving down the highway and yelling these affirmations with so much energy. Number one, it gets me, again, it connects with my intention. Number two, it affirms to my mind and my subconscious mind of what I want to create. And number three, the energy that I'm projecting, that gets me energetically prepared. And when I show up to a meeting, my energy is uplifted. And I really think that this is a really powerful tool, right? Becoming unstoppable. You have to have this sort of energy that is uplifting when you're talking to buyers, you're talking to sellers, you're doing an open house, whatever it is you're doing, your energy has to be, I would say, elevated, because I see that with elevated energy comes elevated income. So the number three principle that I want to focus on is focus on your habits. What are your daily habits, right? I just talked about one of my habits, which is affirmations. I also like to meditate. And again, meditate is not something that you really need to get super crazy about. What I do is I just sit and I just listen to my breath and I just focus on harnessing my focus muscle, because one of the things that we're at war with right now is our focus. More than ever, because of so many devices, so many distractions, our focus is at war. So I like to do affirmations and also meditation to develop my focus. That's one of the things I like to do. I like to journal. I like to read. I like to feed my mind. I like to do some physical workout, because with the physical workout, my blood is flowing, so I feel a lot better. And your habits also include, your daily prospecting, right? Because no matter what level you're in, you have to prospect, you have to follow up, you have to create content. That's another one of my habits that are being done daily. So that's principle number 3. And principle number 4 is writing out your goals and creating a plan. Because you can write out your goals, and if you write out your goals and you see them, but if you don't have a plan applied to it, then you're not going to get there, right? So this year you might have a commitment of how much production you want to do, or how many agents you want to attract, or what sort of result you want to create in your finances and your family and your relationships and with everything. So you really got clear, write it out, and then develop a plan, work backwards, right? That way you can have a specific process. And the next principle is, I think this is the last one, actually. The last principle is to have self-confidence. Self-confidence. I really think that one of the things that is going to get you to the next level, and what's gotten me to the next level, is believing in myself and in what I bring to the table. Because I think that a lot of the times we don't take opportunities, or we don't take certain actions because we're not confident within ourselves of what we're doing. And this is the secret, by the way. I want to give you the secret sauce in this presentation right now. This is the secret. So you want to write this down. The secret sauce is you. That is the secret sauce. The way you communicate, the way you show up, the way you dress, the way you feel, the way you love, the way that you do everything about your life. Like I look at my life and myself as an artist, and I really believe that we're all an artist at one level or another. Not saying that I can draw like a Mona Lisa or a masterpiece like that, but I really believe that our lives are a masterpiece, and everything that we're doing, even our mistakes, by the way, are all designing our life. So you really have to have the self-confidence, because as you already know how I started this conversation, I've had roller coasters of up and down. So when you have the downs, your self-confidence is going to really come to play. Like, how are you going to maneuver, with adversity, right? If the market shifts, if the interest rates change, whatever happens with the government that, decides to change one of the regulations, you really got to develop your self-confidence, because when you develop your self-confidence, guess what? You're going to be at the driver's seat of your life. And I will tell you this, right? I'm pretty sure that you've been on in a car ride where you're not the driver. Maybe you're in the back seat. Maybe you can think about it when you were a kid. Maybe your dad was in the driver's seat. Maybe your mom was in the driver's seat, right? And you were at the mercy of your mom and your dad, and they were taking you to the destination, and you really had no say on what happened. You're just there for the ride. So what I want to empower you to think about is that I don't want you to just be here for the ride this year. I want you to be here in the driver's seat, because in the driver's seat, you can punch in where you want to go in your navigation, and you can get to your destination because of your choice, right? And what I do see a lot of people doing is that they put themselves in the passenger seat or in the back seat, and they're just there for the ride, just hanging out, and they're just going with the flow of the changes of the market. But let me tell you this about the market. Like I started off my story, the market will always do what the market does. But I really believe that the market is a personal question. It really is a personal question, because I talk to agents every single day. Some of them are crushing it. And this last week, they produced amazing results. When I ask them, how's the market? They're going to tell me, oh my God, the market's amazing. Some agents that I speak to, like, they're not doing any deals. And I tell them, and I ask them, how's the market? I'm like, yeah, the market is really bad. So that's why I say that the market is a personal question. The market has nothing to do with your success. The market has nothing to do with my success. The only thing that's going to help us to level up this year is us being in the driver's seat, us taking full responsibility for our life and everything included, even the bad stuff, by the way, because I think it's really simple, to to take accountability for the good stuff. But when stuff hits the fan, own that thing, because when you own something, you actually have an opportunity to make a difference. So I thank you for listening to this presentation. Let's level up.